How to start your Monday morning. Start the fire, boil the water, grind the coffee, add filter, coffee in the filter, water into filter, watch it drip, more water, watch it drip some more, fill your cup, raise your cup, and no. Leave the house and leave it up to the professionals to make the coffee. I'll stick to the conversations. Welcome to Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. Hey, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a very exciting day for me. It is our 90th episode, and we just keep cruising along, so it is very exciting. And look, we all got the memo about what to wear today, so that's even more exciting, right? Thank you so much for being with us. We have been super busy. We've had a couple of different shows going on. We had the After Dark show, which is a little racy and spicy, right? That was at the Cambria, Detroit a couple weeks ago. Yesterday, we were actually at the Bubbles and Brunch show at Alchemy, which is right here in Royal Oak, actually right next door to the studio. So Alchemy is upstairs, it's fine dining, and then downstairs is the speakeasy. So if you've never been there, check it out. Johnny is amazing, the food is amazing, and the espresso martinis are quite amazing as well. So that's my little plug for them. Like I said, today is the 90th show, and it's been kind of an interesting summer for me. So I've got 13-year-old twins, and they are at camp. And it is one of those camps where you can't talk to them. So you can email, it's all one-way communication. And so I'm kind of sending these emails into the abyss, hoping that they get them. And I've like overnighted them snacks. I'm like, I hope they're okay. The dog is going crazy. He is sitting at night. He sleeps in between their bedrooms. And then last night, he must have been at his wit's end because he came upstairs, barked at me, went downstairs. It was this constant thing. And I finally just had to like lock him out of my bedroom. And he was like barking the whole time. And then I just realized I left him outside today. So, so I'm hoping he's hydrated today, right? So that is kind of the deal. So thank you so much for being here. I've got Carol Foster here. She is the author of Meet the Fosters. And I don't know if Jennifer, your PR person, told you, but I do a segment called Where Are They Now? And it is about former media people who have gone into different industries. And your husband was kind of cutting edge with that, right? So we're going to...
Absolutely.
Yes. So we're gonna kind of tie that in to the book and to the Where Are They Now segment, even though Denny has been gone for a while, right?
Right.
Okay,
right.
So, but I'm so excited to meet you, so thank you so much. And then Aya Restrepo, you are the founder of Glam Jail.
Yes.
Right? And that has been Birmingham, a beautiful spa. And I'm so interested to ask you about the name of that, because I'm kind of thinking that when you think of jail, right, you think, that's not fun. Can you look beautiful in jail? Maybe. But the whole idea, it's all tied into confidence, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay, so we will talk to you in a minute. And then Elke, doctor in the house, right? And you are so funny because you said, oh, well, I am a PhD. But in my book, a doctor is a doctor is a doctor, right? So I'm going to actually give you a hand for that. Because I actually said, you have to say you're a doctor. Even if it's a PhD, that's a lot of work.
All right, I'm going to say I'm a doctor.
Okay, all right, we settled it. You're a doctor, excellent. We are waiting for one more person. We are also talking about the Marysville Hot Wheels Weekend. It is their 10th anniversary, and I think Mike was stuck in traffic last I checked, so hopefully he'll be here soon, so we will have somebody else be joining us on the couch soon, okay? So Carol, I am going to start with you. So you have written this book, Meet the Fosters, a memoir from the Motor City, and how long did this take you to write?
Well, I started in 2013 and finished it in 2024.
Okay.
And the reason why it took so long is because I took a creative writing class. And that's what kept me going. Once a week, there was a deadline. Mm-hmm. I had to come up with a story. And so that kept me going.
And this is your very first book, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And these are all, it's so interesting because these are really... It's a big book, but short stories. And they're so cool. And they talk about your adventures being married and Denny, your husband. And one of my favorite parts, of course, is how he took WJR off the air when he was, 11?
Yes.
Because, I was an anchor at WWJ. So that's our competition,
yes.
Right? So I'm like,
absolutely.
Oh, you took it. Yes. So
yes.
Tell me a little bit about Denny.
Well, Denny was, I think people would call him a character. He had a fantastic sense of humor. But he had a very quick analytical mind. So he could perform things in emergency situations. He could save the day. Very resourceful and very quick thinking.
I think you even refer to him as MacGyver in one of these, right? In one of these chapters.
Yes. When the furnace went out.
Oh, okay.
Yes. It went out on a very cold day,
Of course.
naturally, and it was a weekend, and so he put in a part. He said, "This isn't safe, but it'll work until Monday when we can get a part."
Really?
Yes. So he jury-rigged something to get it going, but we did not freeze that weekend.
And you were safe.
Yes. Yes.
Bonus. So originally, what did he, so in the industry, he was a producer, right?
Yes.
But what did he initially come up with as far as there were clips or something, right, that he would do?
Well, he did a lot of work for the auto industry, mainly Chrysler. He did a lot of video clips, like you've heard of sound clips.
Audio, yeah.
Well, he did video clips, and he did a lot of shooting in the plants where that way the news media didn't have to go there, and they had it ready to go. He knew the news style for doing it because he was in the news business for a while. He was a news cameraman for a while.
Okay.
And so he knew exactly what they wanted, and it was easy for them to use. And at news events, sometimes cameras wouldn't work right. And there was one instance where a camera wasn't working right, and somehow he knew the value of saliva because he wet his finger and put it on this part of the camera, wet another finger, put it on another part of the camera, and somehow that story was recorded and they were able to take it back to the news station.
Really? So he saved the day?
Yes, yes.
That is...
He was known for doing that.
That is amazing. How long were you guys married?
36 years.
Wow. Amazing. 36 years. You have 3 sons?
3 sons,
okay.
Yes.
And so I've heard something very special about you. I have heard that you absolutely love being a mom and a wife.
Oh, absolutely. We had a wonderful family. The book is really a primer on how to get joy out of life. And we would take everyday situations and turn them into adventures. I mean, sometimes we would just be going over a hill and then would say, "We're coming to the end of the world." And the little kids would, their eyes were open wide, and they would, so just out of everyday situations, we made them a little bit extraordinary.
That's amazing. And I think that's a good lesson for kids, right? Because it's like everything's an adventure, whether it's good or bad or a little scary.
Well, we also, as far as education goes, there was an instance where one of our sons broke a toy on the floor, and he said, "Oh, I guess that was due to gravity." And Denny said, "There's no such thing as gravity." So my son said, "Of course there is. Our teacher told us there was such a thing." And Denny said, "Oh, yeah, prove it." So he went to the library and found out the principle behind gravity, and he came back and told it to him.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
As a parent, I don't even do that. I'm like, "Siri, can you help me out here, please?" I was trying to explain Ironic to them a couple weeks ago, and I had to literally put on Alanis Morissette because I was like, you know what? I cannot figure this out. It was so impossible to explain that to them. So I give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
For just kind of saying, how was this for you to write this book? Was it emotional? Did it make you happy, sad, or a little bit of everything?
Actually, I felt good. There was a couple of stories where I took my frustrations out, like when the deer were eating my garden. I wrote "Get Lost, Bambi." So, I wrote a poem about potholes because they were really getting my goat one season.
So potholes, and let's see, the horn with a mind of its own. You guys crashed a wedding one time, didn't you?
Yes, we did.
How come?
We did. Well, we were newlyweds at the time, and we were looking for something to do, and we didn't have any money. So he said, "I know, let's crash a wedding." And I said, "Oh, we can't do that." And he said, "Sure we can. What we'll do is we'll tell the bride side that we just know the groom side, and we'll tell the groom side that we know the bride side."
Right.
And we went to the wedding, and we got there just as the reception line was starting. And then he said, "Oh, the bride looked beautiful." He never saw her before. But he said, that's what he said. And I said, "You are so full of baloney." And he said, "Well, I made the bride's mother happy. What's the harm in that?" Well, we had a great time there. We schmoozed with all the people there.
Mhm.
We didn't take any food or drink, but we had a great time. And afterwards, I asked him when the next wedding was.
So that, I mean, to me, that is pretty cool that you guys did that and you were always looking for a new way to experience happiness or, to just an adventure all the time, it sounds like.
Yes,
That,
absolutely.
that is amazing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so another book in the works, or what do you think?
Well, I'm still taking the creative writing class, so we'll see.
Stay tuned, as we like to
Yes,
say.
stay
Okay,
tuned.
stay tuned. Okay. I thank you so much for being here. And of
You're
course, Glam Jail is in Birmingham.
Yes.
And you love, and I can tell by your outfit because you're so beautiful, but you
Oh,
love to
thank you.
combine art and medicine, so to speak, or tell me a little bit about this.
Yes.
Okay.
So my skirt, my scarf are made by me.
Okay.
They're designed by me. So Glam Jail is essentially about stimulating women, mainly above the age of 40, to wake up again.
Mm.
So when we think about Glam Jail, I think of coming to Glam Jail to break free from what's holding you back. A lot of women over the age of 40 feel like they're disappearing. They're going to be artifacts in society. So I want to bring back the empowering feel of strength, of stimulation, to make sure they feel relevant and they feel beautiful. So there is beauty on the inside, but we are a visual society.
Yeah.
So I get women saying that, they're complimenting my scarf, they no longer compliment me, or I no longer have presence in the room. So I try to bring back that mojo in conversation, but also enhance the beauty that they already have and remind them of it.
So one thing that I have heard about you, see, I hear a lot of things about everybody, right? So one thing that I've heard is that if somebody comes to you and they say that they want a certain procedure or something, and you're like, and you'll be honest and you will actually say, you know what, I don't think you need that done.
Yeah, exactly. So I say a lot of no's to a lot of my patients, especially the young ones. I do have a 10-year-old daughter.
Okay.
And I feel very responsible that all these girls on TikTok and things like that teaching about beauty and them comparing themselves to filters. We need to be very careful about how we portray what beauty is. So I tell my daughter she looks fancy. She's already beautiful when she wants to get dressed up. So essentially, when girls come to me, I'll give you an example. A girl came to me. She was like, I want to change this, 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 this. And I said to her, well, what's going on with you? And she said, well, my fiance just left me. And I said to her, well, your fiance just leaving you doesn't mean that you have to turn into an entirely different person. So I actually told her to go to the gym, join a different gym and work on her body and her spirit and to come back. And she actually thanked me for not taking advantage of her when she was in a vulnerable situation.
Yeah, I think that speaks volumes because especially, when you're desperate and I know after I went through my divorce, I was, you're devastated.
Yes.
And you feel like a blob, I don't know how else to put it really. But your whole demeanor and you kind of sink, right?
Yes.
And you talked about walking into rooms and you almost don't want to be seen.
Yes.
But then there comes a time when you're like, okay, I guess I'm ready to be seen now.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
For me, when I was a child, I was compared a lot to my older sister. So I realized that, people gave me backhanded comments like, oh, you're getting pretty, or your sister's beautiful, but you're getting pretty. So as a child, I became obsessed with the power of beauty and beauty in all forms in our world. So I had to work on realizing internal value, but also taking advantage of external beauty and self-respect. And I like commanding a room, and I think a lot of people like to be seen and heard. So I think having a form of self-respect and responsibility and having these women, we are aging. The golden years are full of rust.
Right.
But we want to work on, their faces and their complaints to the point where they feel good enough or they feel the self-respect that they're doing to their bodies and the self-care that when they do re-enter that room, they remember that they still have it.
And having it is good.
And
right?
having it is good.
But
Yeah.
not having it is okay too.
Yes.
Because you eventually go to a different level.
Yeah, that's
right?
a onesie in a house with
Yes.
your my bottle glasses.
So on your website, I thought this was interesting. It says aging doesn't happen by accident. It happens by choice.
Yes. So the self-respect form that I was talking about is, we do have to work on our bodies and our faces to a point. The skin is a very vital organ. And as your cells slow down and turning over, skin health is very important, just like working out. You know, you don't get a result from one procedure. And as you continue to follow skin health, which we take full responsibility, we follow skin health and we say beauty follows. So if we start with small non-surgical procedures and really take care of exfoliating the skin, and lasers have come a long way where there's not as much downtime, and we take care of problems that people are complaining about rather than just throwing Botox and filler at everything, then you decrease the chances of needing surgical procedures as well as more Botox and fillers, because there's a lot of people walking around looking like chipmunks right now, you know, and they don't realize that people are looking at them like a spectacle, not because they look good.
Right. They're making fun of them almost,
They're
right?
making fun of them. You're just looking at them, but they may not differentiate that attention. So for me, dealing with skin health and doing smaller procedures over time, am I going to avoid you getting a facelift? No. You know, if you really want one or really need one, I will send you to the surgeons. I have full respect for the plastic surgeons. But if I can help you make that decision of getting a facelift slower or delay it, then I've done my job into you feeling that at that point I've broken free, I feel better, and I don't need to get any more procedures at this point.
That is awesome. So what is the most common procedure that women are asking you for right now?
Right now, we actually get a lot of women complaining about looking tired and also losing contours in their face. So I tell the woman, we start with a Visioscan, we do a deep dive into their skin. We work on their skincare regimen because it's very overwhelming for everyone, including myself. You know, there's just so much out there. How do you even pick? We work on how old they are, their ethnic background, because it's very important to know how much oil is in that skin and how much is supposed to stay there. Then we focus on a skincare regimen. Then we start heading into exfoliation, peels, lasers. Then we work on contours and then stimulating collagen to continue to grow. We want to try to do as much in a natural form as possible before we start heading into, you know, surgeries or fillers and Botox.
Well, I think too, you mentioned downtime or lack of downtime. I think that's super important, right? Because who's got time to lay around with a bag of peas on your face?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, I mean, and that plays a part in it, because then people are feeling like, oh, this is accessible to me. I can do this and I don't have to take 4 days off work, or I can be seen in a couple of days.
Yes, exactly. I mean, most of our women are powerhouse women, 40 or above, or very overwhelmed mothers. You know, we love filling their time with procedures that have a short downtime and also that they find acceptable to be in public. So if we have lawyers or judges, we take in that account, and then we're open 6 out of 7 days a week.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. So we really try to work around schedules, and then we really try to handhold after procedures so that we can make sure we have full control over the healing process as well, because that's just as big as you having the procedure done in the office.
So are you accessible? I mean, do you do some of the procedures yourself with people?
I do all of them.
Do you really?
I do.
Okay.
If you don't, you know, I am the founder, but if you don't understand all the procedures and also get them all done, I always say I'm done vagina on up, guys. So if I'm doing a procedure to someone, I've had it done.
Okay.
And I know what it feels like to get it done, and I know what it feels like doing it, and I know what it feels like calling them, and I concierge a lot of my patients after, because you only retain 50% of what I'm telling you after you got a procedure. So I need to make sure that it's handwritten, and I'm also following up with you after. And then those results will speak for themselves.
That's pretty awesome,
Yeah.
right?
Thank you.
Because sometimes you see somebody and they're like the face of the company, and then you never see, I mean, they're not real,
Yeah.
but you're very real.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
love that. So if a woman was out there thinking, you know, oh, well, maybe I'm under 40, but I really feel like I need to look more awake, or, I mean, you just consultations, people can come in.
Yes, we do consultations. We do a Visioscan, so we do a deep dive on your skin to look at it at a cellular level to understand if it's, you know, sun damage, you have rosacea, you have pigment. We also look at your wrinkles. If you're under the age of 40, we follow the same protocol. But if I don't feel like you need a procedure across the board for any patient coming into my office, including the men, we have a lot of men coming in as well, golfers and people coming in for sun damage. Yeah. Because BBL treatments like lasers actually take off sun damage so they can avoid going on like chemo drugs or having procedures where, God forbid, you get cancer. So we want to try to remove as much sun damage as possible. But we just have to do the aesthetic care in a responsible manner. So we make sure they fully understand it. And if I don't feel the patient doesn't understand what I'm trying to tell them, then I make them sit on it so that they can think of more questions and then come back so they can talk about it again.
That is awesome. That speaks volumes about your character,
Oh,
really.
thank you.
So, Doctor, I saw you nodding because you are the executive officer of TSRL, based in Ann Arbor. Tell me what that is.
So we're a small pharmaceutical company, and we work a lot with academic inventors, with small companies to help them get their ideas a little closer to clinical evaluation. And our kind of differentiator in that space is that many of us have worked in large pharma before, so we don't only provide the service, we also consult on the strategy for product development in that space.
So, how has the industry changed for you over the years?
I think two things, and one in terms of shift. So I came from Germany in '92. I was born and raised there, and I got my education there. I think the industry was very competitive with each other in the '90s still, and in recent years it has very much shifted to a more collaborative environment. Drug development has gotten so expensive that joining forces is the way to manage the cost of it and get a product to market.
What about, is that mostly a men-dominated field or no?
It kind of depends on what part of businesses you look at. So in large pharma, there's a pretty good representation of women, I think, and it very much is encouraged. It's appreciated. The diversity of product development teams is acknowledged and appreciated. In startup companies, and investor groups tend to be more male dominated. So in the smaller companies, you generally see a higher percentage of men.
So what made you go into the industry?
Most of my things were kind of accidental turns, and I generally followed a person, right? So I got interested in science in high school. I had two fantastic teachers. One was teaching chemistry and biology, and the other one was teaching math. They both were women, and they were just made stuff really interesting. And you had to pick sort of like two areas of focus in Germany in high school. So I picked chemistry and math, and so kind of went into that direction. But I was also constrained, like so many are still, certainly at that time, by thoughts of what kind of career I should have as a woman, right? So with all that science, I figured I had it all figured out. I was going to go to pharmacy school because then I could work part-time and have a family and that kind of stuff, and thought that was pretty brilliant until I worked for the first time in a pharmacy, which is different in Germany than it is in the US. You actually have individual businesses, and literally every medication needs to go over the counter. So you spend 8 hours of your day handing aspirin and ibuprofen, and every once in a while you get a prescription for a narcotic, and you go like, what do I do now? The other part that I learned about myself there was I'm an introvert at heart, and so being public facing in a pharmacy was just not the right thing for me. It was just completely exhausting, and so during undergrad, I also had a favorite professor who was teaching pharmacology. So again, I followed the person. I said, okay, I'm not going to be in a pharmacy. I'm going to get a PhD with this person.
That is amazing.
But then he turned around, 2 months into my tenure with him, he said, we're going to send you to the University of Michigan to work with this other guy.
And that's how you came to Michigan.
That's how I got to Michigan. Okay. And the other guy turned out to be, who happens to be the founder of my company, turned out to be also a very good person to work with and learn from. And so it's always been kind of, following the people. And then I went on to Park Davis and Pfizer and Aspirin Therapeutics, and it was always kind of a person that either I knew well, I found interesting. I didn't strategize my career and then executed it.
That's okay, right? We all end up in different places that we had planned.
No, I mean, you have to kind of follow where life takes you, and sometimes you make interesting turns you didn't anticipate.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you think drug companies get a bad rap?
They do, and it's a catch-22, right? So and there's so many parameters that influence that. So we've seen in Europe, a massive decline over the years in research and development, because insurance companies have managed prices of drugs so aggressively that there's not enough left to really do the amount of research that we historically do in the U.S. It's also a for-profit business, right? So, at the end of the day, the stock market needs to make money before we actually deliver for the patient, right? And that's inherently a conflict too. And so there's probably some validity to some criticism for the pharma companies, and it's systemic. It's not an individual company. It's a systemic structural
So
shortcoming.
I did not clear this with your PR person before I asked this, but the weight loss drugs, right? So we've heard so much about those and the shortages, and I don't know if you have anything, if you manufacture them, if you do anything with those, but I mean, what's your opinion on that, of having access to drugs that may not be, I mean, if you're not diabetic, should you have these?
Yeah, so I'm probably more skeptical of those drugs outside. They're phenomenal for diabetics. It's just kind of the best drug class that the industry has developed. And there is a place for weight loss, I think, but I also think it has gotten overboard. I mean, you have the signs when you get your hair done. There's a sign by the counter that says, "Would you like some GLP-1 while you're
I think
here?"
you could get one at the car wash.
Yeah, right? And you can't forget, it's like when you get off the drug, it reverses, right? And it does have significant side effects. I mean, there's a lot of discomfort that comes with it. And so you got to really carefully weigh the risk benefit. And I think it gotten a little out of control.
So as you mentioned, the hairdresser, the car wash, whatever, where you can get these injections. What do you think that does to the pharmaceutical companies?
Well, I mean, for one, I don't know if you remember that scandal in the Northeast with the fungus-infected IV preparation that they did in a compounding pharmacy. You just don't know where these things that offered at the car wash came from, what kind of quality they are, if
they're even real, right?
Even real, if they have the right content. And so it's also very, very dangerous, when you try to pursue that outside of supervision of a physician.
So as a woman in the industry, if somebody is like in college, or they're just going to college for the first, like this year, and they want to pursue like a degree in pharmaceuticals, what would be your advice?
I still think it's a fascinating area that's constantly evolving, and I've watched this throughout my career, moving increasingly away from small chemical molecules to more biologics and proteins and peptides, and then RNA vaccines and that kind of stuff. And I think there's still a huge need globally to help people, and it's a fascinating field. And if you're kind of person like I am, if you like to work on something that stretches a really broad area of things that you can work on and provide something new, if you choose to make turns, I think it's still a very good area to go into.
Did you want to add something, Aya?
No, I actually find it fascinating as well. Yeah.
Oh, actually, I was going to comment on the real world of dieting.
Okay.
I have a story in my book called The 30-Day Diet, in which I lost 30 days.
No pounds, just 30 days?
Just 30 days. I mean, you go to a party and you gain a pound, then you're real good and you eat rabbit food. and then you have a smorgasbord that you end up going to. So then you gain the weight back. So that's what happened to me after 30 days. I lost 30 days.
So what'd you do after the 30 days?
Well, tried again.
So the whole idea too, and you mentioned your daughter. So I have a boy and girl, right? And so it's very hard to model good eating behavior. Because let's face it, fast food is so convenient, right? They call it fast food for a reason. Yes. And if you're in a hurry, you're tired, you don't feel like cooking. But it's very difficult for me as a parent to be like, okay, we're going to cook Mediterranean food today, or we're going to try something different. My son, he is a foodie. He's like, can we have lobster today? I'm like, absolutely not. I don't even know how to cook that. But it's hard to model that behavior for kids in general, I think.
So I personally like working with my hands. So I'm not the mom that's wrestling with my kids in the back or chasing and playing monster most of the time. So I find cooking therapeutic, but I did find it is a lot of work, and I hate doing the dishes. But I find it a form of subconscious love. So even if I'm trying to make something small for them and they can repeat it maybe in college, I find it, I guess it feeds my anxiety of work-life balance. So I think I overcook because I'm compensating maybe for maybe some time lost.
I love that.
I lean into cooking.
Okay, what about meal planning? Anyone do that thing? Because
No.
I mean, cooking is therapeutic for me too. I
Really?
still
Yeah.
do a lot, and now, because time has gotten more constrained, I do the majority of my cooking on the weekend. But I do. I find it therapeutic. It takes my mind off work. And yeah, and I enjoy good food, and I enjoy Mediterranean food. So I don't find.
do you have any good recipes? Because I need
I
one.
do. Well, I worked hard.
That part I don't find particularly challenging, and I think what you said earlier, kind of really trying to focus on getting your movements in, and if you don't want to go to the gym, but do the part of what is good for your body and your mind, and cooking is part of it, and walking my dog is another part of it, and doing some yoga stretches in the morning is another part of it. And I think then you respect your body and you treat it well, and you stop focusing on do I need to lose another 10 pounds or whatever. It's like you're treating your body well, and it's healthy and it's strong. And that's all we should be striving for. Yeah.
I don't want to say that's good enough, but that is what it should be.
Well, it should
Instead
be,
of,
yeah.
fixating on the number on the scale or, not looking at the number on the scale.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Carol, you were going to add something.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, my husband loved homemade pies. I didn't know how to make a homemade pie. So I said to my family, do you mind being guinea pigs? And they said, okay, sure. And as long as it tasted good, we were fine with it. And so I in the story, more to the eye than there's more to the pie than meets the eye. I described how I first went for the filling and then went for the crust on how to design a pie.
Really?
And when I finally got it, they were a little bit sad because they knew once I got something
That was
down,
it.
that was it.
What's the favorite flavor?
They liked sweet cherry pie.
Can
Yeah.
you whip one of those up for us?
It takes a little while,
Does
but yeah.
Yeah. So my parents worked as I was growing up. I'm an only child. And my mom was, and I tease her about this all the time, so I can say this, but it was like, oh, it's Fish Stick Friday, yay! Or let's have spaghetti on Tuesday. So I started learning how to cook when I was like 12. And so she would come home and dinner would be ready. But there was the one time that I decided I was going to start baking cakes and muffins, and misread something because it was supposed to be 3/4 of a teaspoon salt.
Oh.
I put 3/4 of a cup and salt in
my
the
God.
muffins, and it was like it was, but again, that's something that I remember that I tried pretty much because I don't want Fish Stick Friday anymore. But the whole idea of now my kids are like, you started cooking when you were 12? Well, we don't cook, and I'm like, I know, right? How did that all change?
Well, when I was a newlywed, I made plenty of errors. In Confessions of a Homemaker, I describe how I worked very hard on a spaghetti sauce, put too much vinegar in it, and wanted to put a smile on my husband's face when he had, because he really enjoyed spaghetti. And when he tasted it, he said, because I put sugar in to counteract the vinegar. Well, he said, I've never had sweet and sour spaghetti before.
Was there chicken in that? So does your daughter cook at all or no?
She does. She makes
does?
crepes in the morning, and my son makes lamb. So we make a really good mess, but I call it job security.
Right. Right.
So I like creative play. So we tend to cook a lot, and I like to dance in the kitchen. I think those are our moments that are usually the best moments versus the Pinterest mom that I'm failing at terribly, their birthdays and the way the decorations coming in. That's usually chaos for me. And then when I think of the best memories, it's that extra half an hour before drop off or the kitchen time.
Right.
Which I'm sure you're so good at that. I'm actually gonna try the end of the world as soon as we get to that. I think thinking of adventures in small things.
And just driving. We were driving over.
Oh yeah. So it's funny. My kids, they were feeling bad, right? They were like, all of our friends are going out of the country this summer. And, why can't we ever go out of the country? What, we just go to the water park and whoop-de-doo and all
Yeah.
that. So I said, hey, guess what? We're going out of the country. And they're like, we are? We don't have passports. I'm like, it's okay. We don't need them for Canada.
Yes.
But to them, to see the speed limits change, the kilometers, to go to a Tim Hortons that had a maple leaf on the cup that they thought was just so awesome. I mean, it was fun, right? And I know that they'll remember that for a long time.
Absolutely. Absolutely, they do.
Um,
And we had an adventure when we were going through the Windsor Tunnel. The kids were real little at the time, and we said, we are going under the Detroit River. And so my little 5-year-old said, do you think we ought to close the car doors?
Maybe just a
Yes.
little, just a little.
Yes.
So how many kids do you have?
I have 2.
You have 2.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what's your favorite thing to do with them?
Cooking is part of it too,
Okay.
and we love to travel. So, and both of my kids got the bug a little bit. So I did, my ex-husband was not a big traveler, and so we had one part of the family vacation that went to the same cottage every year and build a tradition.
Right? Yeah.
That was more kind of his thing. And then me and the kids would go on our own trip to Europe or somewhere further around the U.S. and visit family sometimes in Germany too, but also kind of explore other countries. And both of my kids started really early traveling on their own too. My son went to Thailand, and my daughter went to Mexico, and when
Nice.
they were like 18 or something, So I think it broadens your horizon. It teaches you so many things, and makes you more open to different cultures and different things. That is a very easy and enjoyable way to do that.
And you should experience everything.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I think that's the bottom line. It's just more about experiences and then that time away from, I don't know about you guys, but the whole screen thing, right? That's a whole thing that is a battle to, put down your phone. Like the camp they're at now, like I said, they can't have their phones.
Yeah.
So the camp actually has shirts that say, I survived 2 weeks without my cell phone. I'm like, did they yet though? We'll see. There's another week to go.
Well, we had a time, and we actually got the kids to clean their rooms. And we got them to do it willingly without any nagging. My husband came up with the idea, I'm going to write little notes, and on it will say, here's $1, here's $5, here's $20. The $20 notes had shorter due dates or expiration dates, and the dollar ones were a little bit longer, and we put the dollar ones in easier places to find. And so we hid them in various places in their rooms. And it took a while for them to find the first one. But once they found one, my little kid came running in. Oh, you owe me $5. You owe me $5. And I read the note and I said, I'm sorry, but that one has expired. So why don't you see if you can find another note?
Yeah.
And once they found out that there was little treasure notes, their rooms wound up being spotless.
That is an awesome idea. How high did those bills go? 20, you said?
20.
20? Okay.
Yeah.
So you just randomly hid them.
Yes.
I love that. And they never but they always expected to find the money though, right?
Right.
And then how did you decide the expiration dates?
Well, the dollar notes were longer expiration dates than the $20 notes.
Okay. So out of all these chapters in your book, what's your favorite?
Well, Denny was very resourceful, and I loved the way he solved problems. We had an ant problem, and I call that the eliminator. He said, okay, I'm going to find out where these ants are going, because they always have a path. And he found it that they went into this door into the pantry. There was little screw holes in the door. And so he took the door off the hinges and sprayed it. And it was a blonde door, and it turned black from all these ants. So he rushed the door outside. And we never had an ant problem after that.
Really?
Yes. And another time, I call it a treasure hunt. We had a plumbing problem, and the plumbers asked for the main clean out, which is the main drain to the house. And for some reason or other, our house didn't have one. And the plumbers wanted to see if they could find it, though. And they said they would have to break up the whole basement floor to do it. And my husband said, thank you very much. Send me a bill and I'll call you back later. And he came up with the idea of getting a metal detector. And so he searched around and he found where the clean out was with that metal detector. So we only needed a small little hole in the basement instead of the whole basement.
That is amazing. He just sounds like he just figured it all out. Always.
Yes.
That is awesome.
Yes.
I'm envious of that because I'm thinking, did you live in Berkeley? Was there a main drain there? Because I can't find mine. It's like that's one of the things too. Right?
At the time, it was Farmington Hills.
Okay, close.
Yes.
Okay, so I always ask everyone this question, and I'm going to start with you. So, if you were to meet your younger self for coffee, what would you tell her?
Probably don't worry so much. That's the one beauty as you get older. I think you become more at peace with yourself, where you're at in life. You care less what other people think about you, and you do a lot of that when you're young. And if you can eliminate that early, that frees up a lot of energy to do other things.
I know. Don't you wish that we did learn that earlier?
Mhm.
Yes.
Because it does seem like we waste so much time, worrying about how we look, or just worrying about the aesthetics of things and not really caring about the inside or the emotional, the well-being, right? Because at some cost, it gets pretty intense.
Yeah, and somebody told me once that, always remember that the other person worries so much about themselves too, so they don't even have time to worry about you, So
Right. We
why
always think it's
bother,
about
right?
us,
Yeah,
right? And
right.
it usually isn't. Thank you. Aya, what about you?
What would I tell my younger self?
If you were to meet her for a Colombian coffee.
If I were meeting her for a Colombian coffee, I would probably say that there's no such thing as a Hallmark family and a perfect work-life balance. I think we're always on a treadmill trying to achieve these things.
Mhm.
And I think the faster you realize that you are happy if it works for you, and make that clear to your children. I'm divorced as well.
Mhm.
And if you're a little vulnerable and you realize that you're really functioning from your inner 6-year-old, and it may not look like what it looks like on TV or following societal standards, I think the freer you'll feel and the better you'll feel to be able to enjoy smaller moments, because you're constantly trying to plan for these bigger hallmark moments that may not be the really most important moments that you have.
I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, you're up.
Okay. Well, in my story, Only Do This at Home, I learned that you should always learn to be comfortable with yourself, not try to be something you're not. In that story, I was going out with a guy that I thought was kind of cute and I wanted to impress. So I saw this article in 17 magazine that told you how to walk like a model and you could be sophisticated. So I practiced it at home, but I practiced it in flats. When I went out on my date, I was in heels. And we were walking along, and I was trying my model walk and nearly fell flat on my face. And he had to stop me from falling. And I did leave an impression, but not the one I wanted. So it's best to be yourself.
So, funny story. I don't ski, and I went on a blind date. This was when I was still in high school, and I fell off the ski lift.
Oh, God.
And as if that wasn't bad enough, then I fell on the tow rope and got rope burn on my face. And the guy was like, bye. He sent me flowers the next day, but I always thought it was because he thought I died. It was so horrible. But, I am a firm believer in, if you don't know how to do something, then you at least try. But yeah, I never skied again. So what is the one thing your sons are all older, obviously.
Yes.
And what is the one thing that you think that they have taken away from your life with your husband?
I think they all have great senses of humor. I think laughter gets you through almost anything. It makes you feel better when you laugh. You just feel better.
And then what about you? What is something you want your kids to take away?
I think my kids are going to take away grit. So I always tell them I'm raising them like Mary Poppins with a little bit of hood. So, money can come and go.
Right.
I think that if they can land on their feet, especially with social media and things that may affect the way they feel about themselves, and they can, sustain having that grit, I think that they can get through anything.
And how about you with your kids?
I would agree with that. And nurture your friendships, value your friendships, and really nurture them. I think we have a tendency in the U.S. to, when we move and go different places, that we make new friends and we don't keep up with old friends, and really do that. And both of my kids do that, and so do I. I very, very much value friendships, and I still have friends from my college day and high school days, and stay in touch with those.
I love that. Hi, Mike.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I know you got stuck in traffic. Thank you so much
I
for
apologize.
for continuing the drive. So you are the co-producer of Hot Wheels Weekend in Marysville, right?
Yes, Marysville Hot Wheels Weekend, our 10th year running.
Very, very cool. I was lucky enough to be there last year, judging the pinup contest. It was so much fun, and Eric Estrada was there last year. He was like super fun, and this year you've got the Fonz.
Henry Winkler, yes, he
That
will be
is-
joining us.
That is so cool. So, okay, so for anyone, I mean, it seems like it's car season in Michigan, right? With the Woodward Dream Cruise coming up, everything happening. What is Marysville Hot Wheel? I mean, for someone who hasn't experienced it, what is it?
Marysville Hot Wheels Weekend is a celebration of everything cars, Americana, music, everything. This is our 10th year running. We've got some of the best rockabilly bands in the nation coming. They come every year. Great celebrities this year, like you said, Henry Winkler. Just amazing cars, probably between the 2 days, close to 2,000 cars in and out. 3,000 to 4,000 people in and out of our city. It's really great.
And so the pinup contest,
Yes.
that's going on this year,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay,
that's
so
become a crowd favorite.
it has,
Yes.
hasn't it? So there were a ton of, how many entries are there so far? Do you know?
I
Or
believe about 25. It
Okay.
varies, but right around 25.
okay, and
We don't swap mics.
so 25 pinup, thank you, Dean. 25 pinup girls. And for anyone who doesn't, I mean, you hear pinup girl and you're thinking, oh, what is that? What are we talking about? But it's very vintage, and it's just a very cool thing to experience.
It's a throwback to World War II, late 40s, 50s in America, with the dresses, the big hair, the makeup, everything. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is. And so judging those, right? And then they do you remember I can't remember the categories right now.
I'm that day I'm running around so much, I've never seen the show.
You haven't?
I mean, I go by and I have to, help them out, but I've
Right.
never really.
Oh, okay.
I probably will this year.
Yeah, baby. Yes, do that and report back to me, please. So Henry Winkler, he will be there both days or just one, or how's that working?
Yeah, we have something unique with our celebrity this year. Mr. Winkler is a children's author. I didn't know that till this year, but he, part of the deal of him coming and getting him to our area is he has a new children's book out, and he wanted to do a free reading for the children in our community. And it was going to be held at our public library in Marysville, but I think we've outgrown that already. So we're going to move that to our city park, where the rest of the event is on Saturday. That'll be Friday afternoon at 3:00.
That he'll be doing the reading.
In Marysville Park, yes.
Okay.
In our band shell. So I think we have 700 to 800 kids signed up to see him read. So.
And will they realize who's reading to them? It's so funny, right? Because nobody.
Unless their parents tell
Right?
them who it is, probably not.
It's like, what did he was, hey.
Yeah.
So how long have you been the co-producer of this event?
All 10 years.
Okay.
Myself, Chris Troy, and Pat Shirkey, the three of us have run this for the entire 10 years now on behalf of the Marysville Business Council.
And you mentioned rockabilly, and it's very funny because we were there last year and I took my kids, and my son loved the rockabilly music. So he was all about that. And he got their autographs, the band's autographs, and just thought that he was, that was the coolest thing. Because that music is fantastic.
Yes, it's a throwback as well to country rock roots, and it's big guitars, big music. It's great.
So what do people need to know as far as admission, cost, anything like that?
So basically, both of the days it runs. Friday night is our Gratiot cruise along our main road of Gratiot in Marysville, and it starts at a plaza called Village Green Plaza. It's a big strip mall right in the center of town. So it's a great starting ending point. So that cruise runs Friday from 5 to about 9 or so. It kind of dies off. And then we have 3 bands playing out in the parking lot for kind of a street dance. One called Rattle Trap, which is Chris Troy's band. He'll be playing.
Oh, awesome.
Yes. Blue Blaze, 3 guys from Port Huron, really good. And the Little Scringos, who have become pretty big around the state and some good friends of ours. They decided to come and play. And
Oh, very cool.
so it'll be a great night. And then Saturday is in Marysville Park, free admission unless you're showing a car. It's a $20 donation to show your car. And everything else is free except for the vendors, obviously. The pinup show, everything's all free.
So it's funny, you guys had the Sip Shop was there.
Yes.
And so it's like a family-owned coffee truck.
Yeah.
And I think they were just starting, if I'm not mistaken. And so I, of course, now I follow them, and I always ask them. Just yesterday, I was like, "When are you guys parking in my driveway, man? I need a cup of coffee." And they're like, "We'll try tomorrow." I'm like, "Okay, keep trying."
It's funny how many people ask that.
Right?
They're really good. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so you had just walked in when I had asked all of these ladies. And I know we haven't had a very intense conversation, but the Marysville Hot Wheels, it's a fun time. The kids have a great time. The food trucks are there, the Sip Shop, the Pinup Girls, all the music and everything. But if you were to meet yourself for a cup of coffee in your driveway, what would you say?
Wow. Kind of caught me off guard there. I apologize.
That's all right. That's okay. Because so you've been doing this festival for 10 years since its inception.
Yes.
And what made you guys start this?
I was a member of the Marysville Business Council, myself and Pat Shirkey, and we were throwing around ideas for different events to do in the community because everything got stale and kind of stagnant in town. Our Marysville days was a little carnival and fireworks, and it was boring. So we were just throwing around ideas, and I said, "Hey, I have this friend, Chris Troy, that he wanted to do an Americana Fest years ago. We had talked about it and never developed. So I got a hold of him, and we came together and put it together.
And how much work is this?
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, right?
Because it's only the 3 of us. Most festivals and carnivals and stuff have 25, 30 member boards, and it's the 3 of us.
Wow.
We do everything.
So no wonder you've never seen the pinup contest.
Exactly.
Okay, you're excused then.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, listen, thank you for making the drive here. I appreciate it. I'm hoping to make it out there for at least the one day. And do you happen to know what Henry Winkler's book is called?
I do not. I've not seen it yet.
Okay, no, that's fine. I just think that's so. I didn't really realize he was a children's author. I don't know. Did you know that? You're an author.
No, didn't know.
Okay, so where is your book available?
On Amazon.
Okay. And for you, Aya, what if people wanted to make an appointment with you, how would they do that?
They can make an appointment on glamjail.com, or they can call 248-839-5130. There is, in our spa, myself, I'm a surgical PA with over 10 years experience, and a surgical residency from Johns Hopkins. And then I have a dermatology nurse who's got over 10 years of experience. So you're going to get me or her or both of us together so that we could fully concierge your entire treatment.
That is awesome. And you guys have something that you say about water, right?
Yeah, hydration is sexy.
Woo, woo.
I mean, caffeine is amazing. Hydration is sexy.
I love that. I think it's funny.
Thank you.
Okay, so if somebody wanted more information about your company,
Don't call me for GLP-1, right?
so can you? Yeah.
Yeah, you can go to our website, which is currently under construction, so
Okay.
wait a little bit.
All right.
It's tsrl.inc.com, and TSRL stands for Top Secret Research Laboratory, so that's easier to remember when you look for it. And not quite sure whom I would help out with my website, but you're welcome to make an appointment and come look.
But do not ask for those injections. Go to the car wash for that.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Mike, too, for making it. I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great turnout. You guys have a website, correct?
Yes, MarysvilleHotWheelsWeekend.com, or you can call my office, 810-364-4400 for all the details.
All right. Thank you so much. And as I said, this is our 90th episode. We're we've had a couple of different shows this last month. So the only thing that I've got coming up this week, I think, is that I will be at the Redford Theater on Saturday. I am seeing The 7-Year Itch with Marilyn Monroe. And that showtime is at 2:00. So come out and join us at the Redford. Great popcorn. It's a great time. And it's so funny because talk about throwbacks. My kids are 13, but they love going to the Redford Theater. the organ popping up. I mean, all of it, right? So it's very cool. So I will be there on Saturday. But in the meantime, as I always say, keep the coffee hot. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Happy 90th to us. Yay!